It's really no surprise that Trump is talking about a third term all of a sudden. His administration needs a major distraction from SignalGate. They tried for a week to say, nothing to see here, and when that didn't work, they tried asserting that nothing was wrong. And now they're into full distraction mode, with J.D. Vance making a fool of himself in Greenland, and now Trump talking about a third term. Just yesterday, they sent Caroline Leavitt out to say that SignalGate is now officially closed. Only it's not. Insiders are telling the press just the opposite, that Trump is getting ready to fire someone. And once he does, the administration will have their scapegoat and they can finally move on. So with this group of hopeless clowns, it's hard to figure out who that could actually be. Certainly Hegseth is a leading candidate. Pete is actually a big fan of Caroline Leavitt because she makes being hopelessly out of your league seem more normal. And when push comes to shove, Pete is ultimately the one who was texting sensitive information. And ultimately, that information was sent to a location in Russia, where no doubt it was accessed. Add to the fact that he's been taking his wife into secure meetings, and it's clear that Hegseth needs the boot. In Hegseth's defense, he was ignorant of the fact that Trump's supposed Middle East envoy, Steve Whitoff, is ultimately responsible for the Russians being able to monitor the chat. He was sitting inside the Kremlin when Hegseth started posting. So this guy is dumb enough to take an unsecured phone inside the Kremlin. Wait, wasn't Whitoff just lecturing us on communications?
This is the kind of connection that we've been able to reestablish through, by the way, a simple word called communication.
Next up is Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, whose title is obviously meant to be ironic. You can't be Director of National Intelligence and not have intelligence, but that's the case with Tulsi. Few things in life are more painful to watch than when people who aren't very clever think they are being more clever than you. Gabbard lied under oath in a Senate hearing, and then, when questioned about perjuring herself, tried to be clever the way the lawyers trained her to be.
You, in that 2-week period, simply forgot that that was there. That's your testimony?
My testimony is I did not recall the exact details of what was included there.
That was not your testimony. Your testimony was that you were not aware of anything related to weapons packages, targets, and timing.
Ranking member, my answer yesterday was based on my recollection or the lack thereof on the details that were posted there.
Of course, Gabbard isn't the only one who lied. CIA Director John Ratcliffe did as well. Watch this.
Enemy air defenses could target U.S. air crews flying in enemy airspace, correct?
I don't know that.
You do know that.
And here's the thing about Ratcliffe lying. When Gabbard lied, you could see the cold, calculating, follow what the lawyers told me to say mental process going through her head. Ratcliffe just looked like he was completely out of his league. This is the CIA director, and he knows nothing about security and technology. Talk about a guy whose head should be on the chopping block. But actually, word on the street is that Trump is getting ready to make a scapegoat out of somebody else. And oddly enough, it swings on the special election in Florida. Watch this.
A little behind the scenes story for your viewers. This is from Axios' Mark Caputo, who lives down there in Florida. And he said that behind the scenes, Mike Waltz, of course, now the president's national security advisor, which is why they're having to fill this seat. Mike Waltz is saying to colleagues behind the scenes, Randy Fine, the Republican candidate you just saw there, he said, if Randy Fine wins, I'm definitely getting fired.
So it appears that Waltz, who added the Atlantic reporter that got them all caught to begin with, is going to be the scapegoat. And it's a pretty ironic use of scapegoat, because if Democratic candidate Josh Weil pulls off an upset win, that's not really going to change anything for Waltz. But the other irony here is that this Republican stronghold is no longer strong. Republicans have lost more than 29 points in this district, and that's not due to Waltz. That's due solely to the chainsaw-wielding, Social Security-slashing Elon Musk. If both these Florida Democrats don't win, it's because they did not campaign on the slogan, "A vote for a Republican is a vote for Elon Musk." That's all districts that are heavy with retirees and vets needed to hear. If they fail to tap into that anger, then it's their campaign's fault. But the fact of the matter is, Trump and his team see which way the tide is coming in, and they hope putting Mike Waltz on the sacrificial altar will stem the tide. Newsflash, it won't. The only way Trump and Republicans survive is cutting Elon loose. I'd like to see them try. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.